I got a lot to say.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Well,
I'm
get
so pumped to
started.
do this. I love Cardano, and I've made well, I should probably just start.
Hey, are you?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Crypto Ride. Today, we've got an exciting interview for you. I'm here with John and Brian from the Joey Stake Pool. These are Cardano stake pool operators, and they're here to answer many of the questions that we have as a community, and questions that I had thought up for them that I thought a lot of people would want to know the answers to, all revolving around what staking is, how to stake your ADA, how to get the most out of your staking rewards. And so we are going to get into it. Welcome, guys, to the channel. And I think we're just going to dive right into it. So when and how were each of you introduced to cryptocurrency in general? And then what attracted you to Cardano? And when did you begin investing in ADA?
First of all, Anthony, thanks for having us on. I just want to briefly introduce ourselves. Like
Sure.
you had mentioned, my name is Brian. My partner with the headset, his name is John. You can consider me, I guess, the pool owner. And then I had asked John to be my pool operator. So I kind of wanted to just at least introduce that. Just want to give a little history. Joey, the name is actually John's son. So that's how we came up with the name Joey. Man, I think like everybody, I got into crypto 2017.
Yeah.
Summer of 2017.
So right when things were really heating up. So that must have been a crazy exciting time. Yeah.
Right before. I can recall the price of Bitcoin at the time was like 1,500, 2,000. I think about 2-3 months go by and I keep it on my radar still. And I'm like, hey man, what's this Bitcoin you talking about? It's like 4,000 now. So that's what kind of piqued my interest with crypto. Yeah.
In a nutshell, yeah. For me, it was the end of 2017 too. So of course everything got hot, and and that's kind of when my eyes were open and I went down the rabbit hole, which you guys know all about. What about you, John?
Anthony, I like to share an experience that I had in my regular day job a few years ago. One of our servers, production servers, actually got infiltrated and someone put Bitcoin mining software on our servers. We found the issue. We closed up the hole, remediated the issue right away. But it was interesting to see the, Bitcoin mining software on our server. I actually asked my boss afterwards if I could get approval for setting up our own Bitcoin mining server so we can generate revenue, but of course I got denied.
Wow.
Back to your original question. I have Brian to thank for helping me with purchasing my first crypto. A few months ago, towards the end of the ITN, Brian asked me if I'd be interested in running a Cardano stake pool with him. So I did my research on Cardano, on ADA, on Charles Hoskinson. And from that point, I was sold on Cardano and I bought my first ADA.
If you would, it doesn't have to be both of you, but if one of you guys wants to take, if you could just briefly explain what staking is and how that works, like even just the idea of what staking is, for anyone who just might be watching this that keeps hearing about staking, because it is definitely a buzzword in the crypto communities right now. So what is staking and why might someone want to get involved with it?
When you buy ADA, you can hold it, hope for the price to appreciate, or you can stake it. You can become a pool operator like us, or if you don't know how, you can just be a staker or a delegator. Now, what does that mean?
If I could just jump in for a second, because I have a simple, really, without getting too into the weeds, I would just say too, like, if for anyone who's, it's going to be good you go into it, but for anyone who's just watching, like, I always just like to think of it from my audience, like it's a way to earn basically dividends, essentially, crypto dividends, passive income. Like that's kind of what that's like what the benefit of for an investor that's staking. And then if you want to go into, what it is, that would be great too. But just in general, I just did want to just kind of say that.
Yeah, of course. And I was going to give the same kind of analogy, but I found it. So in layman terms, when you stake, you're basically helping to run the network. People can relate and understand that, but what does it really mean? It's basically the process by which validators, so the pool operators are the validators.
So you guys are the validators.
Correct.
Okay.
So the validators are selected to create the next block. and process transactions. So that's what really staking is. So to create the next block, it's actually a lottery system, set by the protocol. When you participate with a pool, you're helping the pool to grow. So it'll increase the chances of that pool to get selected by the lottery.
A simple metaphor that I like to use when describing staking in layman terms is kind of like having a savings account with a bank. By putting your funds into a savings account with a bank, you're supporting the respective bank. And in doing so, you earn interest. It's kind of similar to delegating your ADA into a stake pool. By doing so, you're supporting the Cardano blockchain, the operations, the security of the blockchain, and you get rewarded for it.
Yeah, and so you're actually doing your due diligence, so to speak, or you're doing your part to support the network when you stake. So it's not only just about you earning a little bit of crypto, you're also helping Cardano too. So that's a good point, I think, to make for sure.
Yeah, with Cardano, they do a proof of stake method. If you look at Bitcoin, they do a proof of work. So if you research that, you can kind of find what the differences are.
A lot of people are interested in staking, but I think they, like you said, they're not understanding and they're not clear. But we want to make sure and let everybody know that staking is very safe. It's very secure. You hold it in your dataless wallet. When you stake, it stays in your wallet. Now, every 5 days, Cardano will take a snapshot. So if you choose to sell some, you will not get credit for whatever portion you sold. I think that's important to say.
Yeah, absolutely. When you are trying to choose a pool, there is an overwhelming amount of choices. So with so many options, how can a particular ADA investor choose the best stake pool for them, or just a pool that, how do they know which pool to support? Any tips that you guys have for investors to keep in mind when making their selection?
Yeah, you're right.
This is a lot. Yeah.
There's 1,100.
Is it 11? Yeah.
I think so. It's going up 10 a day. I think it's really important. First of all, there are several websites that stakers and pool operators can utilize. So first I want to say pooltool.io.
Okay, so that's a good one. So take note of that. Maybe I'll include that in the description, but pooltool.io.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that.
You'll see all the stake pools. You'll see how many blocks they made per epoch. You will see how many blocks they made lifetime. You can see their pledge. You see everything. You can see the fees, the fixed fees.
And the more blocks, the more rewards that would be divvied out to the delegators that are who is staking, right? Like, right, you get paid per block. Am I understanding that correctly? Yeah. Okay. And just for the record, he said epoch, which is that 5-day period when they take this snapshot. That's the end of what Cardano calls an epoch, which is like, without getting too into it, but that's when the payout periods would occur.
Yeah.
So we actually made a calendar. So on our website, you can take a look at the calendar for the schedule of when the rewards are dispersed.
I'll put that in the description as well.
Oh, and the big thing is you can check out the pool's ROS, return on stake.
Okay.
It's important because we all want to make more ADA.
And you can see that on that stake pool website.
Yeah,
you can look at any. I'm sorry, pool tool. Right. You could. Okay, that's great. That's great advice. Thank you.
Another good website is adapools.org. I want to talk about my own experience, and then I'll kind of give something else. So before we even had started this stake pool, I had participated in the ITN for the whole 6 months. And so, just like you, we've been in Cardano since 2017. We follow the big guys like Philippe on the Cardano Effect. He's one of the co-hosts.
Yes, I listen to that podcast from time to time. Yeah, he's very good.
I didn't know who to delegate to in the ITN. I don't know if you participated in the ITN.
Yeah, I did, and it was somewhat of a crapshoot. Like, it was like, all right, I'm gonna go with this pool here, and
I had followed Philippe for a long time, and I didn't know who else to go with. He was charging 6%. I didn't really care at the time. I saw his face on the weekly, so I went with Philippe. And when you delegate to a stake pool, you're not married. You can jump around.
Yes, and that's important, guys. And anyone watching this video, that is important. You can undelegate, you can withdraw your funds when you can stop staking if you want to sell at some point, if you feel like you've earned enough. Like, obviously that's not the best thing for the network, but just that's really important for people to understand. It's not necessarily a long-term commitment when you stake. Hopefully it is, but if you don't want it to be, it doesn't have to be.
I mean, I do want to say, you know, the whole thing's going to even out. You know, it doesn't matter if you're with a big pool, a small pool. If you stake long enough, at least 3 months, it'll all even out. But let me finish up my experience. So, so I went with Philippe, 6%. Could have been happier, making more ADA. So I went to his partner, Rick. I think at the time on ITN, Rick was charging 4%. I was like, hey, man, if I can make 2 extra%, I'm going to do it. I went to Rick's pool because Digital Fortress, because, you know, same thing. I saw his face.
Yeah.
If he's gonna scam me, I at least know who he is.
Yeah, in this industry, that goes a long way to just have confidence that, you know, you're not getting scammed or something. Yeah.
And then ultimately from Rick's 4%, I want to say this was during the ITN, you know, their fees have changed now on mainnet. And then I went to another guy. So I went to a stranger's pool. He offered 1%. I was like, hey, I want the most bang for my buck.
I've seen you guys on social media. You've talked about how your pool, I don't know if it's both of them, because you have 2 pools. I know I was talking with John, it's Joey 1 and Joey 2, right? Is that correct?
It's just Joey and Joey 2.
Joey and Joey 2. So I know I've seen you mention somewhere that you have 0 fees, like when you talk about 6%, 4%. So is that still true that you still have those 0%? And then how does that benefit the investors who choose to stake with you guys? John, did you want to chime in at all with that?
Brian,
I see your wheels turning. I feel like I see you thinking.
Brian, you can talk more about the experience and the experiment we're trying to do with starting up the 2 pools. One, we started at 0%, and the other we started at, I don't remember, it was like 4%, I think. And between the 2, the 0% fee pool was the one that started getting attention, started getting love, and we actually got super lucky, and a whale splashed into our pool. He had like 16 million ADA. He had since then left, but he actually gave us the boost that we needed to kind of maintain our operations for that particular pool.
So you found more success with the lower fees. Now, do you think the rewards will be higher for people who stake with you in the lower fee pools? Are the rewards automatically higher, or is that not really necessarily the case?
You can actually look at that data on sites like PoolTool or ADA Pools. I think they'll show you what the return on stake at this point with actual data, because we've been through the first, I think, 2 epochs of community building the blocks. Ours is about 5 point something on the return on stake.
Day 1, July 29, we were one of the very few pools to offer 0 fees. 3-4 weeks later, there's 150, 200 free pools, 0% fees. So still, how can you get recognized? I mean, I think the best form of marketing is education, because people can keep harping on Twitter, join our pool day in and day out. You know, that's gonna get watered down. That's gonna get stale. I was doing that myself, and I didn't feel good about it. You know, I was doing it on YouTube, and I was getting backlash on YouTube in the comment section, like, hey, stop spamming.
But there is, so let me just say that for anyone considering beginning your own stake pool, there is that aspect of it where you have to get out there if you don't have that many connections and try and be noticed. Like you guys here coming on my channel. I mean, this isn't the biggest channel in the world, but this is definitely a good move for you guys. And hopefully we'll get you in front of a couple thousand people too. And people will see and hear about you guys and potentially stake with you. But that's definitely a reality for anyone out there watching this who's considering starting a pool. Be prepared to maybe have some sort of marketing or advertising plan that hopefully isn't spammy, like Brian was saying. You got, I guess, really put some thought into that. So, you know, just for our viewers, I just kind of wanted to say that.
We don't take anything. We only take the fixed fee. The fixed fee is out of our control. The fixed fee is set by Cardano. $340 every epic. Now that $340 is only taken if the pool you're with makes a block. So for example, Joey 2, we're fortunate, it's performing well. To date, we've made 12 blocks. Joey, on the other hand, not I
performing
don't
as
want to say it's
well.
not performing well, but we haven't
We haven't
not,
had the opportunity to, because
yeah.
we don't have enough delegation to it.
I myself was waiting for the epic to turn, waiting for the rewards, trying to see, you know, how much, you know, we've made, you know, we've been waiting, we've been reaping a long time. And so just for curiosity purposes, I wanted to see what our ROS was. And John, like he said, ours was 5.67% for a small pool. And
Yeah.
at the time we had only made 10 blocks. I wanted to see who the top pool was, and it was IOG. IOHK, they had rebranded to IOG. It was IOG1 at the time. They had produced 156 blocks. That's a lot. But their ROS was 3.31. And I think because the pool was saturated, and I think we'll touch on saturation later.
That's exactly where I was going to go. I'm so happy you took that there. I was just going to ask you, like, what is they say, people say pools are oversaturated. Like, what's the saturation rate? And like, how do you know if a pool is saturated or not?
Go on adapools.org.
Yeah.
Or pooltool.io and set up the bot notification. And I believe that's one of the different types of notification. It'll tell you that the pool is saturated. Now, right now, the pool saturation, I believe, is at 208 million. That's a lot.
That's Joey 2, that pool you're talking about, or that's the IOHK one?
Yeah, we wish.
That's IOG.
IOG. Okay.
IOHK.
So yeah, so they're making a ton of blocks, but the rewards aren't that amazing because they're oversaturated. Am I understanding that right if I say that?
Yeah. So the protocol disincentivizes a pool from being oversaturated. You know, you had mentioned you get the pool operator, we get rewarded for producing a block. There's a certain amount of ADA that we get by producing a block, which then gets divvied up by the delegators. You know, John, my partner, he really does run this like a business. For me, it was a hobby, you know, trying to make more ADA, trying to make money. But John, my partner, you know, he kept me grounded. He's like, Brian, this is a business. You know, granted a small business, you know, we have to have we have to set aside funds for advertisement. I just want to, you know, speak on advertisement, you know, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Noting out October Black. You know, we went with him. His YouTube channel.
Yes, I've seen. He's got the animated stuff. I've seen one or two of his videos.
Yeah, it's weird. His thing is robotics with big boobs.
Right. No, it's cool. I've seen it. Yeah. You know, we talked about like the advertising component, but like, what's the upkeep? Like, what's the day-to-day like for maybe anyone watching who's considering starting their own stake pool? Like, you know, maybe John, you know, how many hours a day or a week would you say you're putting into this thing at the moment?
Yeah, especially in the beginning, you put a lot of time and effort into it.
Just getting it set up.
For me, there's a big learning curve. So if you're trying to get into it, you know, expect a lot of training. Expect to put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it. You'll need some technical background in DevOps, networking, server administration, security. You know, those kinds of skills.
Those all come into play, all of them. Not one of them, but really all of them.
Yeah, it's recommended because, you know, you want to set it up properly. You know, you want to make sure it's secure. You want to make sure it's reliable.
Wow. And now that it's up and running, is the upkeep a little bit less? Are you putting maybe, I don't know, an hour or two a day or a week, or is it still like a ton of time?
Probably a couple hours a day.
Okay.
All this work that I do is pro bono. We're actually eating the costs for our operations right now, but we do believe in the project. So we're looking at the long-term scope of it.
And then some point down the line, you could change your fees theoretically if things go well for you, and then you can take some more profits. Because I mean, you know, obviously you want to grow and you want to get people staked there, but you want to make some profits on this too, especially if you're putting in the time. It's like anything else. It's not a greedy thing. I mean, that's you know, eventually you want to be profitable on it too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
like all small businesses, you're expected to take a loss in the beginning. But, we're looking at the long-term vision of this project. So, we're at least committing to at least a year so we can get to that decentralization point where they adjust the D and the K parameters. And that'll give, for us, small pool operators or other pools that have yet to make a block, more of a chance or an opportunity to do so. It's just a transition process. This is how they set it up, where, you want to gradually ease from centralization to decentralization.
Yeah.
So it's a gradual transition. And I think by next March, we'll be at full decentralization. And at that point, we can see how our original Joey pool, who's not doing so well, does, because he'll get more opportunities to create blocks. And hopefully by that time, we can, hustle on marketing and attract more delegators to it. But if you're planning to look into starting your own stake pool, you'd want to commit for at least a year or two, just so you can get to that point and see how it is for you then, because right now it's still early. And of course, during this part of the phase, the big pools are favored. But as we move towards decentralization, we'll start to see more of a balance in the ecosystem.
Absolutely.
And that'll help us small pool operators out.
I just want to jump on,
sure.
You join a small pool, try to stay a month, 5, 6 epics.
For people investing, if someone decides to invest in a smaller pool like yours, for instance, or
people go to the big names, the top names, because they're out there, they're recognized, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're the type of person that likes to root for the underdog, go to the small pools. But the reason why I say it's a vicious cycle is because you go to a small pool, you stay for an epic, they didn't make a block, you're gonna feel bad and you may want to jump pools. So then that's what I mean. It's a vicious cycle. You're not gonna go to the small pools. That's why I plead to people to try to stay with the small pools for a month, or else, I say we won't survive, as in, risking shutting down operations. John's working pro bono.
It's just a passion. This is a passion for the project.
Hey, the fact that you guys are here, it seems like you're doing some of the right things right now. And it seems like you got a long-term view. So, I mean, like, just to speak from my experience, like with this YouTube channel, like I was doing this for about a year and a half before I started to get paid or make anything off it. Anything takes so long, but it's like, if you got the persistence and you've got the drive to do it, which it seems like you guys have, I'd like to think it'll work out. I think Cardano's got a bright future. What I'd like to do right now with this interview is kind of shift away from the stake pool stuff, talk just a little bit before we wrap up about kind of like Cardano big picture and just what you guys are most excited about, like just being about the project in general.
I mean, we're just touching the tip of the iceberg. Shelly just released, everyone keeps talking about people delegating, it's going to lock up, it's going to take it out of circulation, it'll shoot the price up. It hasn't, so, but, besides getting excited about price, what's up?
No, I was just going to say, it's just such an insane atmosphere to be in, because I do some swing trading as well. And you got all these pumps and dumps and buy the rumor, sell the news. And so, the top projects, they're going to prevail over time. I believe Cardano is one of them. I mean, I've made, I don't know, maybe this is maybe a 10th or 12th video on Cardano that I've made. It's one of the ones that I just love. That's the other thing. You guys, you investors out there, don't get so impatient. It's not a I said this in 10 or 15 videos. It's not a get rich quick scheme. Like, it is an investment. You hear about your friend who made his 5 or 10 or 20x, in 2 minutes. Well, he got lucky or she got lucky. Like, it doesn't always happen like that. But the good projects, I think, will prevail. Just, my 2 cents. Brian, you want to continue a little bit? Just what else you're excited about or whatever it was?
Yeah. So I think towards the end of this year, we're supposed to get, smart contract capability.
Yeah, Goguen, right?
Yeah. So
I was reading about that yesterday.
Yeah. So, Ethereum has their smart contracts, and Charles has been talking about this ERC converter, interoperability, being able to communicate with other chains, more development, more dApp developers, hopefully equates to more building and a bigger valuation.
Yeah. What do you think, John? Anything in particular that you'd like to add to that, or maybe just expand anything in particular?
Yeah, I'd like to make a shout out to Mr. Charles Hodgkinson. We're admirers of his leadership and true believers in his vision and goals, for this project overall. We're looking forward to getting that global adaptation of ADA into everybody's lives. So, trying to change the world, and it's just a pleasure to see him and hear him speak. Also, want to make a shout out to all the developers involved in this project. They put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into what they're doing. For example, with the Shelly hard fork, it went pretty smooth. There were some hiccups, but for the most part, it went well. And then also just one more shout out to all the ambassadors, admins, and all the other stake pool operators out there on the stake pool operator Telegram channel. Those guys provide a lot of guidance and support to everyone. So if you're trying to learn how to start up your own stake pool, that's definitely a good place to hit up. It's such a great community out there. But just, looking forward to the long-term visions and goals of this project. And we're hoping by, making the sacrifice now, we'll be able to reap the rewards in a few years.
Absolutely. And, I definitely have to echo that. Like, I do believe we have the right man at the helm. Like, Hoskinson is great. And he's so active on Twitter, and he's got his own YouTube channel, and he's always got just interviews coming out. He's seems like he's omnipresent. You see him on YouTube videos too, with channels not much bigger than mine. And it's great to see. And for me, like, people who watch my channel probably know this, as far as Cardano goes, I'm excited to see what this thing could do, because, I'm an Ethereum investor too. I'm hedging my bets. I want to make sure I have both. I think they're both going to be successful, but and I'm getting into DeFi. Ethereum's amazing right now, the stuff they're building. But at the end of the day, Cardano, it seems like, is going to have the superior technology, and Ethereum's still trying to get Ethereum 2.0. So, even if Cardano is a little bit later to the game, I'm so excited to see what people start developing on this. I can't wait to see the projects that begin to come out of the Cardano ecosystem. We haven't seen like any of them, it's so crazy. So, I mean, for me personally, I know it's not my interview, but that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, I think good tech definitely takes time,
Yeah.
So
but maybe just talk about your pool in particular, make a case why people should delegate with you guys. I'm definitely considering moving mine over, probably to Joey too. I think sounds like the winner right now. I'm definitely, I'll give you guys my word. I'm definitely going to move over at least a portion of my ADA in there. Because I could definitely tell you guys are working hard and are passionate about it. What would you like to say, everybody, about what you guys are doing right now before we close up?
Cool. I'll take this. So if there's anybody looking for a good stake pool, come to check out Joy Stake Pool, because we've proven so far that we can perform when given the opportunity. Just check our metrics on PoolTool or ADA pools. You can take a look at our current ROS, return on stake, for Joey 2. Right now, he's our block maker. So if you're looking to delegate with us, that'd be your best chance to get rewards. Unless if you're a whale, come splash over to original Joey and help give him a boost. We're just passionate about this, and we want to be successful and prosperous, and we want all our delegators to be successful and prosperous as well. So we're happy to help anyone that's interested in getting more information. We'll send Anthony our website to our link to our website, so you can find the details of our pool and information on how to reach out to us.
Comment below with any questions you have. I know these guys are going to check the comment section too. So if you have questions, I'm sure they could elaborate on them for you, as well. I'll do my best, but they are more knowledgeable on this stuff than I am. But if you're still with us, thank you for watching. I think we're going to close this up here, guys. Anything else you want to say to these guys before we close up shop?
Say thank you to Anthony for giving us this opportunity. We love what you're doing. You're providing great content. Keep it up, man.
Thanks. And I'll say this to my viewers too. This is my first interview. This is my first time interviewing. So let me know in the comment section how I did on that. Could I be a better interviewer? I know I interrupted Brian once or twice. Sorry about that. I'm trying to sit back, but
Yeah, no problem. I mean,
but I'm a
these things
talker.
they're kind of awkward. Like you don't know when you're interrupting somebody, but you know, it's our first time too, and we talked behind the scenes. You know, I told you maybe I was wanting to back out, not really comfortable, you know, showing myself, but
Oh,
you
that
know,
was you. I thought that was John. You were the one. Yeah, before we did this interview, guys, they were saying and I had to convince them both to get them on the call. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually had second thoughts, stage fright.
And
you
you're
know,
talking more than John. You talked more than John did.
right.
That's funny.
I mean, because we're that passionate, you know. So like
Yeah.
we didn't want to, you know, we were scared, but we were hungry.
We got to
That's what's
hustle.
up. That's what's
We got to
up.
hustle.
Uh-huh.
So,
All right. So on that note, I want to thank you guys for watching, and make sure to stay tuned for future updates on Cardano videos. Subscribe to the channel if you are a Cardano investor, and definitely make sure to check out Joey or the Joey 2 stake pool if you're looking for a pool to stake with. Thanks, guys.